As you know, programmers are not afraid of spiders, skeletons, and blood. They're afraid of something else. And today we're gonna rank every fear that programmer has this Halloween into 5 categories. We have spooky, kids Halloween stuff, a little bit funny, not scary at all. Then we have cursed, still not super scary, but mildly annoying. The next category is haunted, something that you don't want to deal with, but kind of have to. Then we have terrifying, the level of Halloween. And the last category, the one that makes your blood chill when you have this lump in your throat and you know that this is not a fixable situation, the nightmare. And just so you know how scary it can be, we're gonna start with the worst of the worst. You thought you had backups. Not that you didn't have backups, but you thought you had them, so you probably did something that you shouldn't have done. And the only reason you know that you didn't have backups is because you needed them. This is straight up nightmare. You commit an API key or a passcode. First of all, we've all done that. Is it that scary? You can just go ahead and change your password, right? But the memory of you committing your password is gonna stay there in Git. It's definitely haunted. It's as haunted as it can be. Fixable, but we're pretending force push doesn't exist, because it's definitely haunted as well. Merge conflicts. I have to say that can get into a pretty cursed territory if your merge conflicts are for the things that you don't know and you have no idea what to do with them. And when you're done with them, they break existing functions. So it goes into the spooky category. It works locally, but not in production. It's so cursed. It's so difficult to debug. And it's also happening so often. That's just not fair. Cursed all the way. All instances of the server are dead. Not one node, not 2, not 3, all of them. Do you know why? You don't know. You need to check the logs. Do you have logs? Are you spawning new instances and they're also dead? Are they dying right away? Or do they take their time? This is definitely terrifying. Fixable, so not a nightmare, but terrifying. What if you're testing the wrong environment? Now imagine you created the feature, you deployed it to your test environment, but your tests are giving you something wrong. It's like it's not even working. Then you check your commit, everything is there. You check your deployment, everything is there. What is going on? Well, you've been testing the wrong environment. This is so cursed. It can be hours before you notice, especially if you have environments like test 1 and test 10 deploy on Friday night. I would put it in the category of cursed, but if something goes really wrong and you already have plans for the weekends, no, I'll put it in haunted, because it's gonna haunt me for a while. It really depends on the severity of the feature, but for some very important stuff that can potentially break everything, but it's not urgent, I may not even merge it on Friday. Drop a production database. So how much data are you losing? An hour? A day? A week? Complete nightmare. You know, these tools that only execute a part of the query that you select, I would be careful about them. And not just on Halloween. Imagine you're sleeping and then suddenly you get a call. You look at the clock, it's 3 a.m. You pick up the phone and you see that it's work. Terrifying. It is never good. The calls at 3 a.m. are never, ever good. Dependency updates. Depending on what kind of developer you are, it may hit you differently, but coming from a JVM background, when you need to update a Maven dependency, especially if you're updating Spring or Hibernate, and then you have to update all of your dependencies, and then you cannot make your project work for a day or two because they're all conflicting with each other. It's haunted. It's not a horrible situation. It's one of the things that you don't find scary, but when you think about doing it, you're like, it's gonna be a tough one. I know that everybody's gonna be scared to see that. So here goes. You forget to set a limit for a cloud provider. I think this one terrifies me the most out of everything out there. Unless you're building medical systems, the worst thing you can do with your software is to lose a lot of money. And this is an impressively fast way to do that. You forget to turn off an instance, $1,000 debt. You put on auto scaling and you don't check this and you get DDoSed. Ooh, that is definitely a nightmare. I'm literally getting chills. A time zone or a region bug. One of the worst things to debug. It works locally, it works in production, it works for all other clients, but not for this one client located in Zimbabwe. And good luck figuring it out. Are you handling the time zones wrong? Or is it a region problem? Is it an infrastructure problem? Or maybe it's a random glitch. Who knows? I don't think it's particularly scary, but it's definitely cursed. And then we have the bug that disappears when you switch from running to debug. Even worse version of this would be the bug that disappears when you add a print statement. Let me know in the comments if you've actually had these bugs, because I think they're quite rare. So I'm gonna put them in spooky. Even if you have them, they're kind of cool. Imagine you're opening the code and you see a line, temporary fix, and it still works, and it's still in production. And then you check git blame, and it's from 2015. And of course, as soon as you remove it, nothing works. I think I'm gonna put it as cursed. I don't think it's such a terrible thing that keeps you up at night, but it's definitely not spooky and fun, especially since they never attack alone. If you see one temporary fix from 10 years ago, there will be more. Speaking of git blame, instead of a temporary fix, you see a solution that was supposed to be a permanent fix. But it's so badly written you can barely imagine how stupid the person was who wrote it. And then you check the git blame again, and you know what you see there. I think I'm gonna put it as spooky, because it may feel bad and shameful, but in reality it just means that you're growing. Rows executed, 19,740. Although I have to say, making changes in production database manually is kind of scary anyway, but maybe you're adding a column, right? But what if you're updating some important client's data, or you're deleting one stale record? Everything that has to do with accidentally modifying client's data is a nightmare. Do you like mountains? Me too, that's why I live in the Netherlands. But if I want to see the mountain, I can just check my observability tool. A latency spike. How scary is that? It depends on so many things. But whatever it is, chances are you'd have to fix it. So it's definitely cursed. And you might think that it's not that scary because a spike is not a degradation of the system, right? No, but it's an early warning. Something went wrong, and you need to figure out what, and chances are you are already busy with building a lot of other features and you don't really have time for that, and nobody will give you time for that, and you will just live knowing that something is wrong in your system, but you're not actively fixing it, and it's basically a time bomb ticking till everything blows up. This is so cursed. Let me know what you think about my rating. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have something to add? I'd be happy to hear from you, and I'll see you in a less scary video. This is not an educational video, this is an entertainment video, and it feels weird. But sometimes we don't need to learn, we just need to relate, and this is one of the videos like this. And happy Halloween!